Hey, what's up?
How are you guys doing?
Good,
Pretty
how are
good.
you?
Sweet, of course. Thank you for taking the time here and joining us in Columbus. Are we at your spot right now? Are we in New York City?
We're in Long Island right now at the Sunflower Bean HQ.
The
Actually,
Sunflower
just
Bean offices.
making some music today, working on some stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting. Some new stuff on the way.
Just playing some drums and listening to that. Like finished that about a minute ago and then ran up here.
Not a bad way to spend the time, it seems, here in 2020. I do want to kind of get started by asking about that and kind of how you've been, because it's weird to kind of start an interview without first asking, how have you been over the last few months? How has your life become different or in some ways stayed the same?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're really lucky. We're really lucky that we've all been safe, number one, and that like our immediate family for the most part has been safe, and that you know, we're lucky to be on unemployment. We're lucky for music cares. Like I think trying to keep all the kind of gratefulness to the forefront is really a good way to survive it, because it's just the most important thing. Everything else is really just, you know, I think a temporary frustration. We've been also lucky to be making music together and continuing to like keep up that work that we've always done. Obviously, we can't play together live at shows, which is, you know, has been our main job for like almost 7 years. So very different. It's very different, but we are hopeful that we're going to get back to it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to the day. But in the meantime, it's good to know that you are safe, that you're together, that you're working and in good spirits and releasing the first new material of 2020 this fall. That was a great single that we've got here in Columbus that we're spinning here on CD 102.5, the new single Moment in the Sun. What was the time like here? Was that song written before everything started, or did it kind of come to be after March?
So we actually recorded that. I mean, not recorded it. We wrote that song 2 years ago, actually, like the summer of 2018 out in LA, and it kind of was just we were kind of just waiting for the right time to put it out, and it never, I don't know, it never really felt right. And then we kind of, you know, we had the EP come out and we were playing that live, and then we were kind of, I think even at the top of this year, it kind of came back up on our minds. And so it was like, I feel like slightly in motion before the pandemic hit, but then once that kind of happened, we kind of went full steam on it, trying to get it from demo form into a cool ass recording with the help of Jacob Portrait, who did our record 22 in Blue with us. So yeah, and then we just dropped it.
It definitely like an apt time to release a song like that. Do you find that when you're looking at some of like the way that these themes kind of line up of like isolation and togetherness, do you find that you look at the song a little bit differently now than you might have done when you recorded it a couple of years ago, or is that more?
I think so. I mean, it's like Jake said, you know, it's like you sometimes you make things, a lot of times you make things out of your kind of intuition, and then you're like, well, this, you know, this exists. But I think the time that we're in right now actually gave us the opportunity to say it in a way that makes sense. I think what's interesting about the song is that I think people think of it as kind of a happy song, and I think we think of it as a happy song, but it does kind of have, I think the heart of it is really about trying to understand what values are important to you. And that has been like, I think the biggest lesson of right now. Like we're all sort of, our lives are really distilled to living them in the most kind of like small and almost like natural way as possible. You know, it's like everyone's gone back to like cooking, and there's not as many of these kinds of like distractions that we usually have, especially in the city, to get further disconnected to that kind of feeling. And so I think the song really was meant for right now. You know, it was really, I don't think it could have gone any other way. And that's what's cool. That's how I'm trying to even think about right now. You know, we're recording and always writing songs, and of course it's really sad that we can't be performing around the world like usual. But I believe that when we are able to, it's going to be the most exciting era of the band ever.
Absolutely. And it definitely something to look forward to. I had a blast when you played Nelsonville Music Festival and really looking forward to seeing you back in Central Ohio in some capacity soon. But still talking about this new single, Moment in the Sun, I do want to talk about the music video with you because we talked about the song having been written a couple of years ago and then polished off, I guess, at the start of quarantine and all that. But the video came much after. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, the video we did this summer. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun not being in it and kind of, I don't know, it felt like a different video than we've done before. Because all our other videos, it's like, you know, been very strictly the three of us as a band, you know, which I think there's value in that because, I don't know, bands are rare these days, like real bands, you know. So I think when we were younger, we were trying to really hold on to that. You know, I think as we've grown up a little bit, we can see that you know, when you're making art, even if you're making it all together, you know, if you're not like physically in the piece, it might make it better. It might it might let it be what it needs to be instead of, you know, me and Nick bopping around like in the back for, you know, whatever reason. But it was a really fun music video to make and pretty outrageous, pretty big
Dreams for a very limited setup. You know, we basically we were really lucky that our friends Andy and Sarah, who Andy we've worked with before, and Sarah we were a big fan of, were like in a town just like a few towns over from where we were staying and essentially quarantining together to be able to work together. And like Krista, our manager, did my makeup, you know, like as little of a team as we could kind of assemble to get it done was what we could do. And one of my really good friends from high school named Marquise Rodriguez, who's a really accomplished, legitimate actor, was able to drive up and do it. Because I think that was our approach. It was kind of like we were making like I felt like a really tiny film to accompany the song, rather than just kind of like a visual feeling. We like to kind of, I think we're having the most fun when we're able to like tell stories with the visuals. So I felt like it was a different approach and kind of like a film approach rather than a music video.
Yeah, and it turned out absolutely wonderfully. I encourage anybody that's watching, if they haven't watched it yet, watch it right after this. It turned out amazing. You mentioned working with Andy DeLuca, Sarah Eisman, Marquise Rodriguez, and that kind of star-studded cast of production really shows, I think.
It
really was a dream team.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Something else that stood out to me about the video, I read that you used real like flowers and sod as you built up that bedroom. Can I ask what that process was like? Was this like a set built for this sort of thing, or did you just like grab an Airbnb and say, hey, we're bringing 100 pounds of soil?
Well, we did do it in an Airbnb, but you know it was okay for us to do it. You know, we definitely didn't do it behind anyone's back. But
me and Nick drove down to a sod farm, up 100 pounds of sod. Yeah, I threw it in the back of our tour van, and then, you know, we laid plastic bags down and stuff, and just laid it all down.
Yeah, we worked with this woman, Roxanne Kratt, who was able to do the set design, and without her, you know, I think we had a professional who was able to help us kind of make it happen, and I think it actually made a really real difference because you can tell whenever, you know, when it's like that fake grass, and it's such a outrageous thing to do. It kind of, you know, I love things and I love art that, you know,
goes the distance.
Goes the distance, and you know, doesn't necessarily, you know, it's not the most convenient thing, but you do it anyway. And I love that, you know, like a little caterpillar like hitched a ride and had a cameo, and it was funny is my dog was really interested in the room, and we were trying to keep her out of it because, you know, we thought that she would like pee on it or like do kind of dog style stuff. And like at the end of the shoot, we finally let her in, and she just like sat on the bed, like oh yeah, fine, yeah, this is normal. I can work with this. And I was like, just wonder like what is going on in dogs' heads, you know, like what was she thinking? I'll never know. But the point is, the room was dog approved.
That's good to hear. And I like the way that you described it as going the distance. I think you can really tell. Again, the new Moment in the Sun music video from Sunflower Bean. Thanks again for joining us. I got a few more things for you before we cut you loose. One of them comes to us from a CD125 listener named Jane. She says she loves the vibes of Moment in the Sun and the music video. She wants to know how you all collaborate and work on a creative process together.
We have been working together now for a few years. And like, luckily, you know, it's taken a lot of work, but we're not, you know, like a band that like hates each other. You know what I mean? We're still friends. Like, we still hang out all the time. Like, we're still each other's like main friend group, and like the communication between us is really open. And I think that works like with all of the, you know, the kind of political stuff that we are interested in, because we're always sharing articles, and it also works with like music, and we're always sharing songs back and forth. So I think we go through a lot of different phases together, and we trust each other a lot. So if one of us has an idea, it's pretty much like free reign to show it to each other and see how we can help get one of our ideas to the finish line. And luckily we're able to do that, especially right now with like the least pressure from the outside world than ever, you know, like I think we're more free than ever to explore different ideas. So sometimes I feel like we can, and I've felt this really lately, like communicate a lot of stuff just with like a look, you know, you can like look at each other and be like, or look at each other and be like, no, but we can always do it and feel safe. And I think that's the most important thing with collaborating in a group, is that you don't feel like belittled by each other. And I guess the answer to that question is just communication, and that we know each other really well and believe in each other's ideas and want to see them be the best things they can be.
I like that. And I think it's kind of rare to see too on such a strong level. So I do think it lends itself to some great work again from Sunflower Bean. Thank you for shedding some light on that and for swinging through. I do want to get to a lightning round here at the end, but I do also want to see what we can look forward to next. You said that you were writing some music just minutes before we kicked off here on Instagram. And I also understand you have a live stream show coming up on, is it December 5th?
Yeah, December 5th. We're going to be playing a little show. That'll be cool.
It's at Le Poisson Rouge, and we've been posting about that. And I think people can have a subscription to LPR, and they can also buy individual tickets just for that thing. And so far, it is our only like official live stream performance, like full band. So we are gearing up for that, and we are writing a lot. We're trying not to give any exact words on when people are supposed to expect anything, because, you know, like you always say something and then life happens, and so we don't want to give too much away. But we're definitely a band, we're definitely working, or as much as we ever have, if not more, and we're really excited. But besides that, we have to kind of play coy about it.
Of course, yeah. We are also very excited, but don't want to reveal any industry secrets. But it's good to know that we've got some stuff to look forward to. And again, I encourage everybody to check out Sunflower Bean's social media feeds, get the info about that live show going down on the 5th of December. One last thing before we cut you loose and let you get on with the rest of your Tuesday, a quick lightning round here at the end, some rapid fire questions to try and get in your head. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Question number one, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
How many cups of coffee have you had today?
3. 2.
Only one, but I wish it was 2.
Next question, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Of course. I heard you recently adopted your dog. What kind of dog?
Poodle.
Oh. That's amazing. If there's a listener out there who just adopted a dog themselves and hasn't named the dog yet, what should they name the dog?
Scraps. Because that's what dogs like.
Scraps.
That's amazing. That's one of the best dog names I've ever heard. My very last question for you, and I like to ask everybody that comes through the big room, either virtually or otherwise. I also didn't show you the sign. You're on the sign, but nobody could see it the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the last question that I like to ask everybody, what is the prettiest American state, in your opinion, in terms of its geographical outline alone?
Oh,
Like, what state has the best shape?
That's a really
prettiest?
interesting question. I think New York.
I have to say New York City.
Yeah, New York City.
I think because
It's-
I think we're very wrapped up in New York State in general, like in the upstate and in the city. And
It's just based on the outline.
yeah,
The outline
I know, but it's like we're the closest to it, and I think that it's very beautiful. Like I can see it.
Yeah, you can see it.
And my like, and what,
On Long Island.
what are we
you
really
know?
gonna say? Texas? You know what I mean?
It's like a little mini Florida.
Yeah,
New York
yeah.
City.
Like I love
So-
Texas to visit, but like I'm not gonna say that it has the prettiest outline.
I was
What
gonna
is-
That's
say-
actually an iconic outline.
It is,
it
That
is.
probably is the most iconic
it's like it's very
outline.
iconic.
A lot of people say Texas.
You know what I like a lot is the outline of West Virginia because it reminds me of a rotisserie chicken.
Delicious.
That's the most.
state.
If this question was about the most delicious outline, I would like to put West Virginia in the hat. I also think West Virginia has a very beautiful hilly landscape, so I think that works on two levels. But ultimately, it has to be New York State. I just like talking about any other state. Like I feel like I'm like cheating or something.
A very dedicated band to New York in all facets. A very well thought out answer from Sunflower Bean. I'll make sure to get it on the map. Thank you so much again for swinging by and spending some time with us here in Columbus.
This is awesome, and hope to be back in Columbus before we can say Columbus.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to it and that live stream
All
on
right.
the 5th of December. All right.
Okay.
Until then, thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Woo!